Okay, so anyway. So yeah, there's that. That's a bad idea. What's this? What the fuck is with this guy? Michale Graves.
All right, on to asshole news.
This guy's still around?
Michale.
What band is he in now?
Michale Graves.
Does it say what band he's in now?
I think he's in Michale Graves now.
Oh, the Michale Graves band.
The Michale Graves band.
This guy's such a loser.
I don't know if he has any reason to be in the news other than doing this Instagram post, but he posted on his Instagram.
Yeah, his name came up recently for a couple of people.
All caps, I am a proud Western chauvinist.
Which is like sort of the motto of the Proud Boys.
And I refuse to apologize for building the modern world. And there he is, flashing the OK symbol.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's unapologetically.
He's showing his power level.
It's usually like kind of like a hidden thing with these people.
He's whistling all the dog whistles.
No, he's got the loudspeaker.
And all the regular whistles.
Yeah, he's got a loudspeaker. No, he's got like the Blues Brothers loudspeaker, you know. It's like, attention everyone, we're having a show. You know, like, we fucking hate Jews. You know, yeah, no, he's doing
His hashtags here are Proud Boys.
Okay.
America. Infowars.
Infowars, I got the papers right here in my grapes.
2020.
You think?
Masculinity. Monster Dad.
You the dad?
Real Men. Michale Graves, Real Man.
Someone had kids with this guy? Okay, so maybe Alex Jones should have him on. I wish I could still watch Alex Jones. I don't know what you just have to pay for it. I guess it's a paywall.
You may not pay for that.
I know. I don't want to pay for it. I want to see it for free. Sometimes people like pirate it on YouTube, but it usually gets taken down. But I'm like, oh shit, an Alex Jones episode. You know, what's he up to? But I got the papers right here. I got Michale Graves here. He is a singer of the Misfits. No, that was over 20 years ago. Whatever. But did I tell you I saw this guy once? It was probably like 2013. Yeah, it's probably. I was at a horror convention. What's it called? The Chiller Horror Convention? I guess that happens like every year. Twice a year, maybe.
Yeah, it's called Chiller, right?
The Chiller Horror Convention, which is just an overpriced bullshit thing for fucking nerds that need to be put in garbage cans. But I heard, I went because Keith Emerson, before he tragically took his own life, was there. And he was going to be performing, and so the night before he was performing, so I saw him, and I ran up to him at the bar. I'm like, Keith Emerson. And he's like, yeah. He's like, boy. He's just like, oh yes. And I'm like, you're Keith Emerson. He's just like, yes. And he thought I was going to ask him for like a free autograph, which he was probably expecting me because obviously he needs money. So I think he was kind of trying to avoid me.
Who did we meet at Psycho?
We saw a couple dealer. But
we
saw Arthur Brown.
Arthur Brown.
Yeah, he's right.
You were very excited to meet Arthur Brown.
Yeah, but he was like,
Were you this excited to meet
Arthur
Keith
Brown?
Emerson?
Wasn't there to be a grifter though. He was like there to absolutely. Just
because I saw like a level of joy on your face when you met Arthur Brown that I'd never seen before.
That's Arthur Brown. And we saw him earlier because I'm like, I saw Arthur Brown walk by, and you were like, no, you didn't. And I was like, he had plants on his head.
No, I said I think that was Arthur Brown.
There was a guy that walked by and had plants on his head.
And you didn't notice. But I appreciate you revising the story.
Yeah, that's how it went. No, I saw him and I was like,
I told you.
Well, maybe you told me. And I was like, that was Arthur Brown. Did you know it was Arthur Brown?
I was like, was that Arthur Brown carrying those boots and a plant?
I was like, and I was like, yeah, that was probably Arthur Brown.
It had to be. Who else could it be?
Who else would be such a freak?
Anyway,
but Arthur Brown was very nice.
So you must have been very excited to meet Keith Emerson.
Yeah. So Keith Emerson was obviously doing like the I'm a loser, and this is sad because he killed himself because of stuff like this. Because of how society treated him, being a prog rock nerd, I think just got no respect. So he came there, obviously charging $40 a piece for an autograph, and so I came there the next day because he was giving autographs the next day. So I came the next day, and there's just like sort of like a big hall where all these, Marina Sirtis was in there.
Is that the Star Trek lady?
Yes.
Okay.
She was there, like kind of just like meh, and there's a couple of people in there.
Star Trek nerds would love to meet her.
I think no one cared. Yeah, she's probably cooler now because she was in like that Picard thing, right?
I don't know.
As Riker's wife.
Haven't seen
Riker, he sits in chair. Can I do that? No, I can't climb over this chair.
Don't get up.
I will fall on my ass. So I'm waiting online to get to Keith, and there's a guy in front of me, and it's $40 an autograph, and he takes credit cards. Guy in front of me got like 5 things autographed. He was this fat nerdy prog. He was like, can you sign this? And Keith Emerson was like, yes. He's like, of course. And he's like, oh, cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Shit, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Yeah, he was like, he gave the guy a hug, man. He was like, ah. So I come up to Keith Emerson, and I got my Love Beach album. Now, Love Beach is, maybe it's one of the Emerson, Lake
Sorry,
and Palmer
I'm not as much
albums.
of a,
Here
enough
Lies
of a nerd,
Prague.
Enough of a nerd
This
to
is no longer
understand this reference.
I'm trying to go off on a tangent but this guy's an idiot, so we could talk about Keith Emerson. And it relates to Michale Graves. And so I go to Keith Emerson's table and I give him the Love Beach, and I thought I wanted to get a reaction at him because it was kind of like a joke, because the Love Beach album, if you don't know it, features Emerson, Lake and Palmer on the cover, and they're wearing like these really tight pants. You can see their fucking junk. And it wasn't like ironic. They're like, hey, we're sexy guys on the beach. We're a prog rock, we're a prog rock outfit. Actually,
I miss those days.
They were kind of rock stars though. Like they weren't like
when guys could just be sexy.
Yeah, and I think those guys got
and that was valued.
Yeah. And I think they got a lot of tail.
Ironic.
For like a prog rock band, I think those guys got a lot of fucking ass. Like, because they were like real fucking rock stars. They weren't like nerd. They weren't like Genesis nerd. They were like, yeah, we fucking do tons of drugs.
There's something to say for like people who are really talented,
Yeah.
like really good.
But they knew how to party though. Like they fucking knew how to party.
Yeah.
Like those guys. They weren't nerds. So, so I showed him, I'm like, hey, and he, he's like, I was I wanted to get like a rise out of him, but he was kind of just like, yeah, he didn't give a fuck. And he was like, oh, yeah. And so I gave him his $40 and he signed it. And he signed it the Bee Gees. I still have the record. He put the Bee Gees on it. I thought it was funny. So he got his Sharpie and he wrote the Bee Gees on it. Yeah.
That's a pretty good story.
And just feeling him, he felt like kind of like he felt like you could tell, you can feel the sadness in him. Like he's like, yeah, this is what I got to do. And he had his wife with him. She was like this kind of mail order bride kind of Asian chick. Maybe she wasn't a mail order bride. Maybe
don't be offensive.
I know. She was just like, well, mail order brides could be from Russia too. But she was kind of like, foreign. But she was like, she kind of had to do all this stuff, do all of his sort of like management stuff. But I don't know. She was like, anyway, she was one of those chicks. And and as I'm there, I look over, and all the way in the corner is the Michale Graves table, and Michale Graves is there with his wife, I guess, some like punk rock chick, and he's kind of just there all alone, kind of just like. I'm like, look at this fucking guy. I'm like, it's fucking Michale Graves. Because they said I think Michale Graves was performing the night before too on the bandstand, because they had sort of this all-star jam, like Rudy Sarzo was there, and all these kind of losers. But
I thought you liked Michale Graves' era Misfits.
I do, and I'll get to that in a second. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. But he was kind of over there, just kind of alone. I was like, oh, there's Michale Graves, and I remember reading this article about Michale Graves, and I didn't know this before. I read this, and this article I read like 20 years ago on the internet of 20 years ago. I remember coming across this article, but this is before social media. I don't know how I found it, but it was about how Michale Graves was a right-wing punk rocker, and he was this right-wing punk rock website. And I was like, really? I was like, and everyone was, all these punk rockers were kind of making fun of me, like, really? A right-wing punk rocker? Like, is this a real thing? And I was like, and I remember reading it, I'm like, and then he was just going on about, like, his his whole agenda and everything. I was like, a right-wing punk rocker? I don't, like, why? I didn't understand it at the time. This was 20 years ago. So yeah, but here he is now. A proud boy now, because he has like an identity.
Well, he's been radicalized, because we watched a clip of, he was on the Daily Show quite famously.
Right, and he wasn't radicalized. He was just like a Republican.
And he was just talking. This was back in like George W. era.
Yeah, 2008.
Talking about how he supported the war basically with Iraq,
which was just like a normal thing back then, which wasn't
for all Republicans.
It wasn't a hugely divisive thing.
Some Democrats as well.
Yeah, plenty of Democrats.
But he was there saying he is a Republican. He supports the war. Go America, basically.
Yeah, which wasn't shocking.
It was pretty funny.
Divisive back then. It was like, that guy supports the war.
You wouldn't see that and think he was radical. If anything,
No.
they were making the point that like, as a punk, he should be radical, like more like radical left, but like he was just like, oh, I'm just a conservative, like
and it wasn't anything,
like, oh, I'm just a normal guy.
And you thought it was a joke because it was on the, it was on Steve.
It was pretty funny.
It was on.
It was funny.
Who was that at the time? And it was the guy from The Office interviewing him.
Yes, Ed Helms.
Ed Helms. But yeah, you thought it was kind of funny. I wish we could play it, but it'd probably not be a good idea.
You take that kind of conservative, you compare to someone who would identify now as a Proud Boy.
Yeah, which is radicalized.
Made a significant move here.
Yeah, I think they found their identity because that wasn't good enough for them. They realized that it wasn't working. That wasn't effective. Just being a regular, like, conservative.
Well, I don't think all conservatives are Proud Boys now.
No, like the older guys. Obviously, the boomery guys don't really understand the whole, like, because obviously this Proud Boy thing is more of like a younger man's game. It's more of like a based young man's
Anyway,
kind
Michale
of identity.
Graves takes credit for the modern civilization.
No, that's their motto. It's not his. It's what they all it's a sort of a Proud Boy talking point.
Yeah, well, they take credit for themselves as representatives of white men.
Yeah. Now, if you remember,
they take, they're stealing valor from their white male ancestors.
Yeah, which they didn't do anything. I mean, you guys, listen, the Proud Boys were invented, if you saw the whole story, I think they were kind of invented by, like, Anthony Cumia and Gavin McInnes. Like, it was kind of, it started as like this joke thing.
It's a grift movement, everyone.
It absolutely is a grift. And the thing is, all you guys that want to find, and I know a lot of you guys that listen to this show, you're kind of a little based. You're not like, I know you are, because the way the shit you talk about me. You know shit about me, people, okay? But anyway, they're all these Steven Crowders and these Gavin McInneses and these Charlie Kirks. They're fucking Canadian fucking grifters. Okay, not even American. Okay, just know that. They're rich. You know how rich fucking Steven Crowder is. You know what Steven Crowder is like. Just I know I'm going off on a tangent. He's like my brother's comedy. Like watching his comedy, like it is the same shit.
In the closet.
It is. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's fine if he wants to be gay. It's cool. But like, no, it's that kind of humor. It's horror. It's. I don't know who the fuck thinks this is funny because the guy gets a huge amount of views.
Well, he's not a comedian. That's not where he gets his money.
That's true.
He's funded by like the Koch brothers and shit.
He's terrible.
So anyway,
but he gets like YouTube money. The guy, and he doesn't get like banned either because he doesn't go that far where he gets like banned. Like he's not in that territory. And obviously he makes a huge amount of money for YouTube. So they won't even dare ban the guy because he's like super popular. But anyway.
Don't the Proud Boys have like a lot of weird things they do as well?
Okay, so they have this cereal eating thing.
Yes.
Now all this, like according to Gavin McInnes and Anthony Cumia, like this was like invented when he was working for Anthony Cumia at that stupid thing that Anthony Cumia has. And it was like they started it apparently, and I don't think it was serious. I think all these people like him took it serious. They thought it was real. It started with like this guy they used to make fun of that worked with them, and he had a certain name or something. So they would sing this like play to him. It was called like My Proud Boy or something, and it kind of stuck. And they kind of made this whole thing off it, and then somehow it got out, and people like him and all those other people you see like took it like if it was real. Well, and of course when they got busted, because I didn't think they were even around here, because I think they got busted. Like a whole bunch of them got busted for like starting some fight with people in New York City. And of course that and so like their whatever founder wouldn't get Gavin McInnes. He was like, oh, I don't know who the fuck these guys are, and that was it. Like that was the end of him.
He claimed to not have started the movement. It was just an organic movement.
Well, yeah, he
wasn't the leader.
Yeah, I guess he could. Well, based on his story of their founding, I guess he can get away with that shit. But like apparently he like disavowed these people instead of like defending them, the ones that went to jail. I
can't imagine the person that. I've heard that one of their initiation rites is like
eating cereal and calling out your name.
No, getting beat up while you call out the names of your 5 favorite cereals.
Yeah, I think they're just fucking around.
And they're against masturbation. I've heard.
No. Well, that's a whole movement with the That's not like unique to them. All these
but I'm saying that's part of it.
Yeah, no, I think that's real.
So
that's real.
I mean, there are people that aren't Proud Boys that do that.
Yeah, that whole that whole.
We don't need to talk about that. We're talking about the Proud Boys.
Okay.
So I just can't imagine someone who seriously identifies as a Proud Boy. Like clearly, it's kind of like a jokey movie.
Yeah, I don't think these guys got the memo though.
But there's a lot of dumbasses out there.
Yeah, like
which definitely includes Michale Graves.
I think to Gavin McInnes it was a joke because he's like this rich guy.
I think it was. I mean, I'm not saying I don't think Gavin McInnes is a good guy.
No.
I think he's an awful guy.
No, but this thing was not. He doesn't go out and fight in the streets with these guys.
No, I don't. They're definitely like I know the Proud Boys are pro fighting. Like Gavin McInnes is not going to go fight anybody.
From his mansion.
He doesn't believe this shit. He's just grifting.
Yeah, his mansion in Larchmont, New York. Yeah, no. He's a Canadian guy that's got you.
So
yeah, he's not a fake conservative. I don't think that. But yeah, he's just fucking with you guys. So anyway, this fucking guy discovers it. He probably watches some YouTube video and he's like, yeah.
I mean, this is prime for him.
Yeah.
Like
this is perfect for him, and he's like got to be
like 1.5 brain cell.
He's got to be around my age. Maybe
hardcore dude.
He's from Dumont.
Punk dude.
He's from Dumont, New Jersey.
That's a nice town.
His name is something Emmanuel.
Michael Emmanuel.
Michale Emmanuel.
Michael spelled normal.
Michael. So he spells Michale Graves.
That's part of his stage name. Yeah, is to spell it like that.
With his stupid skull head face.
Pretty cool.
So when this guy sang for the Misfits, I didn't hate his Misfits albums.
I didn't either.
They're super catchy.
Yeah.
He wasn't terrible. Like people, like that's always like everyone's pariah.
It was just the Danzig edge, but
yeah, it doesn't. Obviously, it's not that, but it isn't. It's not horrible. And the Misfits are still like a real band. They still had both of the Doyle and Jerry only in the same band together. Yeah, it wasn't terrible. Like I could listen to that and be like, this isn't bad. So I don't hate. I know it's like a pariah for all the all the Misfits albums, but yeah, it's better than Mike Hideous when they had Mike Hideous singing for them. That was bad.
Anyway, fuck Michale Graves. I demand you apologize for building the modern world. Yeah, and look where it's led us.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Right here.
He doesn't know. This is his little thing. This guy from Dumont, New Jersey.
Yeah, he's just a New Jersey typical
kid. He's just some suburban kid who just doesn't. Yeah. But anyway, it was just funny. Just going back to that time when I saw him sitting there at the table. Oh, and then that same time, after I got a signature from a very unhappy Keith Emerson, Steve Guttenberg walks in the room, and the room lights up because he's got that smile, that $1 million smile. He's like, hey, and everyone's like, oh, Steve Guttenberg, and it was just like, wow, Steve Guttenberg. And even though like he hasn't been doing anything, like his smile just
Steve Guttenberg would never be a proud
lit the room
boy.
up. No, Steve Guttenberg is just like a nice guy. Like he's just like exudes. He was Kerry Mahoney on Police Academy. He's like, always playing a prank. Just fun guy. Steve Guttenberg.
All right.
Okay.
You ready? Moving on. We have more asshole news.
Wait.